have come to feel cynical about the political process. Even those of us who are involved in politics have a sense that politics is a business and not a mission. That power is always trumping principle. That people talk about truth to power, but very rarely act truth to power. That we have a lot of self-appointed leaders sometimes who are long on rhetoric but short on follow-through. And so folks get discouraged. You know, your heart can only be broken so many times. And maybe every 2 years, 4 years, you go into the polling place, you hold your nose, you vote for the lesser of two evils, but you don't really believe that government is going to change much in your life. At most, you hope it does you no harm. Everybody's felt that sometime. And the reason I bring this up is because as I was listening to Bob Menendez speak, and before him, Frank Lautenberg, before him, Donald Payne, I realized there really shouldn't be a debate about the issues in this election in the sense that the folks who are in charge have not been looking out for your interests, and you know it. I mean, we shouldn't have to, I don't have to lay it out. Y'all see it on TV. You know, very rarely do I quote Newt Gingrich, but he had a good quote the other day. I don't know if y'all heard it. He was asked, what do you think the Democrats should do in terms of trying to win this upcoming election? He said, you know, if I were the Democrats, I'd just have two words when it came to this election: had enough. Have you had enough? Have you had enough of a war that cost $400 billion and counting at the same time as we're cutting loans to students who are trying to go to college? Have you had enough of a government whose second biggest mistake is leaving folks up on rooftops after a hurricane? Have you had enough of economic policies that are tilted to folks who don't need help, weren't asking for help, but the folks who do need help and we're asking for help ain't getting no help? You ain't had enough of that? Health care. Folks don't have health insurance. If you got health insurance, what's happening? You're seeing your co-payments and deductibles and your premiums going up and up. If you got a small business, you can't afford to insure yourself, much less your employees. If you've got a large business, you can't compete against Toyota because you've got to pay health insurance because the government hadn't figured out a way to provide health insurance to every single person in this country. So you know the arguments. And sometimes when we have these events, you sort of feel like just going through the motions because everybody here knows the arguments. The fact is that this country has not been moving in the right direction. And you've been seeing that in your own lives. But here's the thing. Despite that knowledge, you're still cynical. You're still skeptical. And that will manifest itself sometimes in apathy. And you'll say to yourself, well, somebody else can do it. And that's what we have to break. That is what we're going to have to change. And when people ask me about politics, what I remind them is there has always been another tradition to politics. Sometimes it's not electoral politics. Sometimes it's community politics. You know, when Rosa Parks sat down on the bus, that was political. When Malcolm X made his speeches, that was political. There's always been a tradition that says that the essence of America is not that America's perfect, but that it's perfectible, that we can put effort into it if we recognize ourselves in each other. If we say, I am my brother's keeper. If we say, I am my sister's keeper. If we recognize that we've got mutual obligations towards each other, then we can all rise up. We can all do better. We can all potentially achieve the American dream. And every child in America will be able to look out at a bright future. That's the kind of politics that has kept me going, even in the times in which I get somewhat cynical.